over the off-season, it was announced that Aramco and Aston Martin had extended their partnership further within their development program of fuels, lubricants, and all of that commotion. Now, the recent news is that Aramco are staging a potential takeover of the Aston Martin Formula 1 team, and they want to take full control of the team. It was reported back in December that from January 2024, Aston Martin would be called Aston Martin Aramco Formula 1 Team, and they would hold a tight partnership. The next stage of that partnership was to increase their connection through the power units with Honda for 2026, as well as engine fuels, oils and lubricants that are intended for use for the Formula 1 season. But now, in March, it is being reported that the Aramco team are staging a potential takeover of the Aston Martin Formula 1 team. Shall we take a look at what impacts that could have on Aston Martin, the future of both their drivers, and do they intend to make any big signings? If you are enjoying this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Stay tuned for my Australia GP preview, which will be coming out tomorrow at about 12 o'clock in the morning. So keep your eyes peeled for that one, and I'll catch you in the end of the video. So obviously, with the arrival of Aramco, if they were to purchase the entirety of Aston Martin Formula 1 team, that would potentially lose Lance Stroll his seat on the Formula 1 grid. Now, as we know, his dad, Lawrence Stroll, is the current majority shareholder of Aston Martin Formula 1 team, and that is probably what keeps him in the seat right now. But are they targeting anyone in particular? Well, let me tell you, they aren't just going for a good driver. They are going for one of the best drivers on the grid. They are targeting the signing of Max Verstappen for a potential takeover. Now, will this deal happen? I don't know. Do I think it will happen? I don't know. But Aramco, a Saudi Arabian oil company, aren't going to be short of a few pounds, are they? Let's be completely honest. Do I think Max Verstappen would switch Red Bull for Aston Martin? I'm not 100% sure, but he has been using the Honda engine for all of his successful seasons at Red Bull, and with Honda coming to Aston Martin in 2026, could that be something which drags him along? Now, Aston Martin aren't just targeting Max Verstappen, but they're also targeting Now, Aramco aren't just targeting Max Verstappen, they're also targeting massively successful designer Adrian Newey. Now, we all know what Adrian Newey has done. I think in his career he's now won 27 championships, team and driver. He's a massively successful person in the Formula 1 industry. Now, he is getting towards the back end of his career, but there's many people in the sport older than him, and I'm sure that if he wants to carry on, he can do. Now, we do know that Ferrari are interested in acquiring the services of Adrian Newey as well, but will a move to a team still in England take his fancy a little bit more? Because I think that's something that we have to address. Now, with the potential targeting of Max Verstappen, I don't potentially think that this move will happen. Now, don't get me wrong, them wanting Max Verstappen is absolutely massive. It's a big decision for a team to make when they come into the sport. They've got to put their own stamp on their team, and having a target on Max Verstappen isn't exactly something that any team would turn down. Everybody would take Max if they could. But is that going to be possible? I think Max could make the move, but I think it's going to be purely dependent on the engines in 2026. Now, Honda are joining Aston Martin for 2026, and Aramco were going to be in partnership with them. But this could be an even bigger partnership if Aramco take over the Aston Martin Formula 1 team. And is Fernando Alonso still going to be at Aston Martin? Because then they might have two seats to fill. And there's a lot of good drivers out there who could do a job in the Aston Martin. But the real question is, does Max Verstappen see potential World Championship material from the Aston Martin team and like the team when it transitions? Because that is a big question. A transition period is never normally quick, and obviously they'll want to stamp their own authority on, bringing in staff, etc. Like the likes of Adrian Newey, as previously mentioned. Bringing in someone like him may design a good car, but will he fit in with the rest of the staff? So that's a big decision. Now, onto Adrian Newey and his potential move. Now, I think there's a lot to talk about here with Adrian Newey. Obviously, we all know about the interest in Adrian Newey from Ferrari. We know that John Elkann and Fred Vasseur have spoke to him. They've spoke to a lot of Red Bull staff over the past few weeks. Obviously, as a result of the commotion that's going off the track, but we're not going to get into that in this video. So there's a lot that could happen, which could make Newey make the move to either Aston Martin or Ferrari. I think Ferrari at the moment is probably the more appealing move if Newey was to leave Red Bull. And it's one of those where I'm not 100% sure if Newey even wants to leave Red Bull. Obviously, you've got the situation with Christian Horner, and that's obviously straining a few relationships. But does that mean Newey wants to leave? Absolutely not. Does it mean Newey has to leave? Also, no. So it's one of those where Newey has the opportunity to go to Ferrari. I think everybody knows that. I think it's very clear and obvious that if Newey wants to go to Ferrari, they'll make it work. Do Aramco have the same pulling power as Ferrari to get him to Aston Martin? Obviously, you've got the family side of things where he probably won't have to move house, because obviously Aston Martin are currently based at Silverstone. Would Aramco take over that facility? More than likely, I'd assume that would be part of the deal. So he probably wouldn't have to move house, move area. Definitely wouldn't have to move country, wouldn't have to uproot his family. And these are all things that you have to consider. It's like a transfer in football. You've got a player in the lower leagues. If he gets a chance to move to a foreign country, he's probably less likely to take it unless it's a higher division. So, and obviously you don't really get higher divisions in Formula One. It's just sort of, you just move teams, and a lot of them are based in the UK. So there's a lot of opportunities for Adrian Newey if he was to leave Red Bull inside the UK rather than move into Maranello. But obviously we've seen Lewis Hamilton make the move to Ferrari for 2025. It's obviously a big option for Adrian Newey. Aramco, if they take over, they're obviously not short of money, are they? So it's not really going to be a financial problem for them. Probably more personnel issue. Would Newey want to move to Aston Martin? Obviously, he's worked with a few of the staff at Aston Martin before because they hired a load of ex-Red Bull. So it's a big decision for anyone to make, especially someone of Adrian Newey's calibre. Obviously, moving to Aston Martin, if he then is involved in the designing process of another championship-winning car for a team like Aston Martin, that's going to be massive on his resume. But obviously, that takes a long time to go from being where Aston Martin are to championship winners. But obviously, it's all possible, especially with the upcoming shake-up in 2026. Obviously, the new engines, which Honda will be providing for Aston Martin, maybe Aramco, whatever. Because obviously, who knows what they're going to call themselves if Aramco do take over? Is it going to be Aramco Formula One team? Are they going to sell naming rights? So, obviously, it's a big decision for, someone like Fernando Alonso could potentially leave Aston Martin at the end of this season, and then Aramco might come in, and then it's like, oh, has he made the right decision? And it could be another bodged move for Fernando Alonso. So there's a lot of question marks around this potential takeover. They're obviously targeting Adrian Newey and Max Verstappen, so they're obviously targeting the top of the grid. What do you think is going to happen? Let me know down in the comments. Do you think Aramco are going to fully take over Aston Martin? Do you think they're going to buy Lawrence Stroll out of his shares, or do you think they're going to take the other shares and buy all of them as one? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'm keen to hear what you think about Max Verstappen or Adrian Newey joining Aramco, whatever they'll be called. So let me know, do you think it's possible, down in the comments, and I'll try to reply to every single one. So make sure you hit that subscribe button while you're down there, and I'll catch you in the next video. Make sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula One and football weekend.